What's up guys, my name is Ace, and welcome back to another gun guide. This is the series where I go into great detail with all of the stats as well as some excellent attachment combinations for every gun in Modern Warfare 3. And in today's episode, we're going to be moving on to the brand new SMG that was added with Season 5. This is the Static HV. And starting it off as always, let's have a look at our damage profile, and this gun's pretty interesting. It has 3 separate body multiplier zones. We have our leg damage, where we're dealing the least amount of damage. Then we have lower torso and lower arms damage, and then after that we have our upper torso and upper arm damage. And if you're able to hit that last zone, this is going to be a 4 to 6 shot kill. As for headshots, in the maximum damage range, it's not really worth going for headshots as long as you're hitting that upper torso zone. However, in that second damage range especially, this is where headshots can be really helpful because it'll maintain that 4-shot kill potential by mixing just one headshot in with those upper torso shots. But next up, let's have a look at our rate of fire, which is 822 rounds per minute. And interestingly, that's the exact same rate of fire as the Jack Scimitar kit on the FJX Horus. However, we do get a very noticeably better time to kill, a ridiculously fast time to kill actually for this game at 219 milliseconds with a 4-shot kill. That's something that Jack Scimitar kit can't do since it'll be a 5-shot kill up close. And taking a look at just how close you have to be, that maximum damage range where we are capable of getting a 4-shot kill to the body, this is just 7.6 meters, so it's not a long range by any means, but if you do find yourself within that range, you are going to be dominating basically every other full auto gun in the game. In fact, this even kills a little bit faster than the WSP Swarm with its ridiculous rate of fire, and it has a better maximum damage range compared to the WSP Swarm. Now, after that 7.6 meters, our 5-shot kill potential will extend out to 35.6 meters, which is also a very solid range. It's pretty easy to keep your gunfights within that range. And honestly, even with a 292 millisecond time to kill, you'll still be able to hold your own in gunfights just fine. Additionally, our bullet velocity with this gun is excellent for an SMG in this game at 600 meters per second. Then let's have a quick look at hardcore game modes. This gun will be a 1-shot kill anywhere in the body in the first 2 damage ranges, so that will extend out to 17 meters. Then from 17 to 26 meters, it's going to be a 1-shot kill anywhere to the torso or arms, and then from 26 meters to 35.6 meters, that's where you have to hit that upper torso or upper arm zone if you want a 1-shot kill, and beyond that, it will only be a 1-shot kill to the head. Next, let's take a look at our hipfire spread, and our minimum hipfire spread when standing still is just standard for an SMG at 2 degrees, whereas our maximum is slightly better than average at 5.4 degrees, and that's actually quite solid, and especially with attachments, you can make a really solid hipfire and tac stance build, and I will be sharing that toward the end of the video. But now let's get into our recoil, and this is far from the most accurate SMG in the game. It does have a fair amount of vertical magnitude to its recoil, and more importantly, it zigzags a lot as it kicks upward. At least it doesn't lean super heavy one direction or the other, maybe a little bit to the left, but the main characteristics that hold the recoil back on this gun is that zigzag as it kicks upward, and then also the gun kick. It will bounce side to side a fair amount on you, so those are some areas you'll likely want to focus on with some attachments. After that, let's get into our handling stats, and our aim down sight time is pretty standard for an SMG at 200 milliseconds, and that's great. And our sprint to fire time is a little bit better than average at 99 milliseconds for our standard sprint out time and 175 milliseconds for our tactical sprint out time. Then taking a look at our reload add time, this is one of the downsides with this gun. It does have quite a slow reload for an SMG at 2.14 seconds, and while we at least have a 50 round mag to offset that to some degree, this is still something you have to consider with your gameplay, as you may have to plan your reloads a little bit better than you would with other SMGs. And then finally, for the base stats of this gun, let's get into our movement speeds, and our base movement speed is a little below average for SMGs at 4.9 meters per second. Our sprint speed, again, is a little below average at 5.7 meters per second, although with both of those values, it's not like they're way below average. You're not going to feel super slow, you're just not going to be as fast as some of the others. However, when it comes to aim walking speed, this is actually really solid at 3.6 meters per second, so that's a big upside with this gun. And now that we've got all of that out of the way, let's get into some excellent attachment combinations I threw together for you guys with the Static HV. And the first one I wanted to share is my accuracy build with this. This one's designed to be very versatile. You can definitely stretch that range out. You can handle those mid-range engagements just fine, although you're still not going to want to challenge people across the map. With this one, we're using the Garrote 8 long barrel, the Trebuchet brake, the Bruin pivot vertical grip, the Mark III reflector, and then finally the Salvo 580 heavy stock. And with this one, you can see massive improvements to our recoil. This is much more manageable and more than accurate enough to stretch out to those mid-ranges very confidently. Our aim down sight speed is still very reasonable at 228 milliseconds. Our sprint out time is just slightly slower than the base, but still just as good if not better than some of the other SMGs in the game. Our range values were also improved by 12.5% when using that barrel, and our bullet velocity is also improved up to 750 meters per second. So overall, that makes for a really nice all-arounder where you can feel confident stretching out much farther than you can if you weren't using some of these attachments. Next though, I wanted to share my Stealth and Strafe build. I really like this one on the Static HV since it has a really good aim down sight strafe speed by default. And with this one, we're using the new Quartermaster suppressor, the FTAC MSP hand stop, the Auger 840 light barrel, the 1mW Artemis laser, and then finally the Spry 34 light stock. And with this one, we're still getting a noticeably more accurate gun than we saw with the base recoil on this, so you can still manage those gunfights out to like close to mid-range just fine, although not quite as accurately as the previous build, of course. Our aim down sight speed with this is excellent at 180 milliseconds. Our sprint out time is also excellent at just 97 milliseconds. And I would say most importantly, our aim walking speed with this is very solid at 4.2 meters per second. So you can strafe in gunfights super effectively with this gun. And to top all of that off, you will be off the radar when firing. And that one's honestly my go-to. It just suits my playstyle super well. I love using that particular setup with the Static HV. And then finally, as promised, let's have a look at my Hipfire and tac stance build, since this gun really excels in both of these areas. So with this one, we're using that Auger 840 light barrel, the Bruin Bastion angle grip, the Schlager ULO 66 laser, which is a non-visible laser, the SL Tac Hive V4 stock, and then finally the Thar V1.2 grip. And with this one, not only do we get an amazing tac stance spread at just 0.7 degrees, so we're super accurate in tac stance, we also get an incredible hipfire spread, so you don't even need to get into tac stance in a lot of gunfights if you're up close. Our aim down sight time is still very solid at 210 milliseconds, and it'll be noticeably less than that when you're using tac stance. Our sprint out time is incredible at just 76 milliseconds. And with all of that combined, that just makes for an amazing hipfire and tac stance build. In fact, I would say this is one of my favorite hipfire builds in the entire game right now. And with that, that's going to wrap it up for today's gun guide on the Static HV. As for my thoughts on this gun, it's just straight up too powerful. Like, objectively speaking, this gun is very, very powerful in this game, and I would argue it is currently the best SMG in the entire game, and arguably even the best gun in the game at the moment. I just think it's got way too much power without any trade-offs to compensate for that power. And the trade-offs that it does have are pretty minimal, like a slow reload time, recoil that's not that bad, but I guess it's higher than other SMGs, and a very slightly slower than average movement speed. That's not enough to make up for the fact that this kills so much faster than pretty much everything up close. And honestly, I think it would be totally fine if this had a 5-shot kill up close. If it didn't have any 4-shot kill potential to the body, but maybe you make it so you have to mix a headshot in to get a 4-shot kill, I think that would be a lot more fair and balanced, and it wouldn't be quite as ridiculous as it currently is. Now, of course, these are just my thoughts, and I'd love to hear from you guys in those comments down below. How are you feeling about the Static HV so far in Modern Warfare 3? Do you agree with me? Do you think this gun is definitely overpowered? Or do you think it's just fine as is? Just let me know down below. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.